Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Warren welcoming you to another episode of Commerce Today. If you're a frequent listener, you might notice that it's me doing the introduction and not Darren. As we head into the Memorial Day weekend this weekend, Darren is actually on a much needed vacation. So he's getting some rest. And I decided that with the interesting news that broke just yesterday about YouTube shopping and what they're doing with Shopify, I wanted to go ahead and record an episode by myself. So we'll see how that goes. And so today I really want to dive into the new announcements that happened at Google Marketing Live yesterday around YouTube and YouTube shopping and some interesting things they're doing with Shopify, all in the context of TikTok Shop. So I have had some conversations with y'all on LinkedIn, and I think a lot of consultants and analysts don't necessarily see eye to eye with me on TikTok Shop. So I guess to set the context, TikTok Shop did about little under $2 billion in GMV last year. So that's gross merchandise value that retailers are able to sell on the TikTok Shop platform. They're targeting 17.5 billion this year, and they look to be on target. They're actually in the first 6 months that TikTok Shop existed, they captured 68% of all social commerce purchases. Meta, which is both Facebook and Instagram, struggles to get 1%. So when I look at it and people say, oh, if TikTok's banned, with the law that was passed but is being challenged in the court, if TikTok is banned, it's not a big deal because another platform will take its place. I don't know if it's that easy. I'm not saying that it won't happen, it can't happen, or I don't want it to happen, but I just don't think it's that easy. And there was a post that I'll link to in the show notes from an expert in social marketing, or actually specifically social commerce, that really highlighted well what TikTok Shop does that no other platform has done well before. And it's really about having a seamless end-to-end experience, how, especially for Gen Z, they get their phone out, they're on TikTok, they see a new trend that someone's promoting on a TikTok, they can click on that product and they can buy it. And it's not they click on it and they're sent to a website. It's not they click on it and they're sent to another app. They complete the entire purchase right there in TikTok. And it's just so frictionless. They're not going to go to Amazon. They're not going to go to a local store. That's how they're going to buy. And none of these other platforms have that level of basically simplicity. They all have hoops you have to jump through in order to actually complete the checkout. So again, with the ban, people say, oh, another platform will take its place. Well, ban goes into effect. I believe it'll go into effect around the start of next year. That's not a lot of time for another platform to get to that level of a seamless experience as what TikTok Shop has. I feel like they have built a pretty big moat around that. So I worry, honestly, for a lot of especially smaller e-commerce brands that have really invested in TikTok Shop. Not only is it going to be a lot of effort for them to switch to a different platform and find affiliates and influencers on that platform, build up their presence on that platform, but there just hasn't been a clear answer of what other platform could it be. Well, enter a new challenger. So YouTube shopping. So YouTube shopping is something that was first announced in 2022. Last year, around June 2023, they added the ability for affiliates to participate in it. And then just yesterday at Google Marketing Live, they announced a much deeper partnership with Shopify. And as part of that, they are going after that seamless, frictionless TikTok Shop experience. So they've announced that for Shopify merchants on certain plans, you will be able to, via YouTube shopping and Shopify, have a native checkout experience. So checkout is in the YouTube app. It's on the YouTube site. You're not clicking out to a separate website or app. However, you can still offer Shop Pay. The order is still processed against your account. It's not like YouTube is going to take the money and then pass it to you. It goes straight to you. The order appears in your Shopify and you own the customer data and the customer relationship. That's a contrast to TikTok Shop. With TikTok Shop, they're processing payments, they're owning the customer data, and you're kind of just borrowing their platform, so to speak. So if it works, this new level of YouTube shopping, and especially if they can open it up to other platforms and merchants on other platforms, I think they could really make a run at TikTok Shop. However, I worry a little bit. Can they actually pull it off? Will people really buy on YouTube? And, they quoted that I think it's 20 billion hours of shopping content was consumed on YouTube last year. That's a big difference, though, because to me, them saying shopping content. So if I go and watch a video about comparing two different lawnmowers that I'm then go to my local Lowe's and buy, they're probably saying, "Hey, that's shopping content you're consuming." That's really different than this content that Gen Z is consuming, where they're seeing short videos of new trends and new products that they then immediately want to buy right then and there that lend themselves to that type of purchase. So it's going to be an interesting battle. It also reminds me a lot, flashing back, God, almost 10 years now. I feel old. So my agency, Creatuity, were actually selected by Pinterest and Magento way back in 2014, 2015 to build out the first version of Pinterest buyable pins. And we built in an integration. It was very similar to this, where you would see a pin on Pinterest, you could complete the checkout entirely on within the Pinterest app or website, but your transaction was actually processed by Magento. The order was stored in Magento. It was pretty cool. Really complicated to set up, especially in 2015, pre-composable, pre-headless. Yeah, that was a project. Unfortunately, after about 2 years, they shut it down, and it was basically the merchants loved it. Merchants thought it was awesome, but Pinterest users, that's just not what they were on Pinterest for. That's not what they wanted to do. They actually shut it down and basically said, "Hey, merchants, just go use Pinterest rich product pins that do most of what Bible pins did, but still just when you click on that pin, eventually you were taken to the merchant's website. You complete the checkout there. So it's not that frictionless experience." And they then launched a newer version of it, partnering, I believe, just with Shopify. But even that version, it's not getting traction because that's not how people interact with Pinterest. And even I think there's so much entrenched user experience and expectations of Pinterest that just don't lend themselves to shopping. So what about YouTube? What about YouTube Shop or YouTube Shopping? I think TikTok Shop has an advantage here. TikTok was much newer and younger when they introduced TikTok Shop. Now, for a lot of people, when you think of TikTok or TikTok Shop, you naturally think of the other. It's just an easier sell, basically, an easier way for users to interact with that platform. I also just wonder again, actually, it was 30 billion hours of shopping content that YouTube likes to tout was watched last year and say, "Oh, we have a very engaged audience." And I wonder how many of those people were paying attention? How many of those people were engaging with someone that they would then want to buy from versus how many was that just part of their buying journey of gathering information? I also just think that YouTube shopping's been around for 2 years now. Alphabet, the parent company of YouTube and Google, still doesn't break out or report on GMV on the YouTube shopping platform. If YouTube shopping's GMV was that great, if they were approaching $2 billion in GMV, they'd be breaking that out. So I don't think people are shopping that much on YouTube shopping. And maybe I'm wrong, definitely comment on this post or wherever you're listening to this. Send me a comment or reaction, find me on LinkedIn and DM me there. Maybe you're going to say, "Hey, I shop on YouTube shopping all the time." But I honestly, just anecdotally, in all the conversations I have about commerce, I've never heard a individual say, "Wow, I love shopping on YouTube shopping," or a merchant say, "Wow, we make so much money on YouTube shopping." So I think there's a big gap. And again, TikTok, if it does go away, and assuming the lawsuit doesn't delay things, we're talking 7, 8 months. How can a new platform or a platform that's trying to launch new features to compete with TikTok go from what could be pretty close to zero GMV to 2 billion or 17 billion in GMV in just a handful of months? I just don't think that's going to happen. I do think that the way they're removing friction in the buying journey through these new features with YouTube shopping, I think we're going to see more people using it. I think the conversion rates will increase. I just don't know how much they're going to increase by. I think also a lot of it has been the influencers and where the influencers go. And I mean, it all comes back to short form influencer driven videos. That's what is making money on TikTok Shop. If YouTube shopping is going to replace it, that's what's going to have to happen there. Thought it was interesting. They just said 30 billion hours of shopping content on YouTube last year. I would love to see how much of that was short form video, how much of that was live streaming, how much of that was from influencers and not just kind of your cookie cutter content from a manufacturer or informational content from a manufacturer. Again, I think those are the things that YouTube is going to have to kind of overcome if they want to try to replace TikTok Shop. So I don't know. I don't know if YouTube is going to be the replacement. I wish it was clear. I wish I could easily say, yes, everyone jump on YouTube shopping. That's where all the money's going to be. I don't know. And it's interesting. We haven't really seen a strong response out of Facebook or Instagram. And I think if either of those two was going to have a shot at this, I think it would be more on Instagram than on Facebook. Again, kind of like what I was saying about how TikTok's brand is kind of built around, in a way, TikTok Shop, because there wasn't a big established, oh, this is what TikTok is in the minds of most consumers when they launched it. Facebook has decades at this point of baggage, basically, of when a consumer thinks of Facebook, they have a very specific image. I don't think it lends itself to short form video shopping, basically. Instagram, though, maybe. I'm kind of surprised and I almost don't want to summon this into the world. Kind of surprised that Elon hasn't done anything with the platform formerly known as Twitter. I think it could be interesting to see if they make a play towards some sort of TikTok shop alternative and really integrate it in with e-commerce platforms to provide that combination of a seamless experience with the merchant owning the data. Yeah. And, we've already talked about what Pinterest has tried, and I don't see it happening there. So unless someone brand new or some small platform out there that, isn't getting a lot of attention, unless they launch something truly disruptive, similar to TikTok Shop, and gather a very quick audience around it, I think it's going to be really hard to get anywhere close to that 17 billion in GMV that it looks like TikTok Shop's going to move this year. And that, again, does put retailers in kind of a hard spot. I'm not really sure, what they will do if it's banned. I think the good news is, as is so often with our wonderful government, I don't think this ban's going to go into effect right away. I think it's going to get bogged down in the courts. And I hope I don't become a legal reporter in the next 6 to 12 months and just the amount of reporting I'll be doing on that. But I do think that we have some time before this actually takes place. And in the meantime, we can see, where is YouTube shopping going to go? If you're out there listening to this and you're a Shopify merchant on a plan that's high enough to use YouTube shopping, please try it out and let me know. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what the early results are. It's not something that any of our clients at Creatuity are looking at. So I don't have direct hands-on experience with it yet. So I'd love to hear from your experiences. Also, I'm going to be linking in all the show notes, and wherever you're watching this, you'll be able to get a link out to an article I wrote about this that then also links out to 4 or 5 different people, very smart people on LinkedIn that talk about social commerce and about YouTube shopping. It's been an interesting intersection where some new voices from the Google marketing community that you don't always hear talking in the social space have been speaking up around this. So definitely check out those links. Let me know if you try this. Let me know what you think. I'm a little nervous saying that just because it seems like every time I bring up the subject of the TikTok ban, I get very political comments on my posts, but that's just part and parcel of this. So definitely comment. Let me know what you think. You can find me. The easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn. Just look for Joshua Warren. You'll see kind of a gold background behind my profile pic. That's how you'll know it's me. My DMs are open there. So if you have thoughts about this episode, thoughts about TikTok or YouTube shopping, or just e-commerce questions in general, please share them there. We will be back next week. Darren will be back as well next week for another episode. And I would just encourage you, I am still looking for guests to join me. I have a few of y'all that are in the pipeline that hopefully we'll have episodes out with in the next few weeks, but definitely always looking for new and different voices in the e-commerce community to share what e-commerce merchants need to know today. So thank y'all very much for tuning in. Look for the show notes and the clips from this episode to be posted onto my LinkedIn and to Creatuity's LinkedIn in the next week or so. And we will continue to watch what's happening with YouTube shopping and TikTok shopping.